polyamorous love child of The Song of Achilles, Attack on Titan, and The Hunger Games. Now, as you all know, we're currently reading through the books we already own. Going through every book, reading the ones I haven't read yet, deciding what gets to stay and what's gotta go. And I've been very bad at this lately. There's just a lot going on right now, and staying on task reading-wise has been a challenge. Last time we spoke, I said I was gonna read For the Wolf. I tried several times, I just could not get into it, so unhaul, goodbye. But then I stumbled upon this tome, which who even knows how it got here, and I quite enjoyed it. So this is The Terrace Trials by Lucian Burr. It is the first of a trilogy. It is set in an alternate historical England, where monsters have basically spilled out of the world of myth and are just like eating everyone. But luckily there's this university that runs the city, and the city is protected because of these like magical wards. Unfortunately, this university, kind of evil, and they will only let people and their families live in the city if they are actively useful against the threat of the terrors, the monsters. So our story centers around Cassius Jones, who's hoping to pass the university's very rigorous and very secretive admissions tests. Basically, all just so he can keep his family safely living in the city. However, these admissions tests are even more terrible than he previously thought. And now he is vying for a spot amongst other students and also trying to survive. So this book definitely has that, like, we are safe-ish here in the city, but there are terrible monsters outside there that we have to take care of, and we have no idea where they came from vibe of Attack on Titan. It has that competition for survival aspect of the Hunger Games, and our two main characters are gay and hot for each other, and the monsters are very Greco-Roman themed, like the Song of Achilles. So it really is like a mixture of all three of those. I am kind of surprised I enjoyed this as much as I did, because this book is very much outside of my comfort zone. For one, it is incredibly violent, and I'm not like opposed to that in books, but it's also not something I actively go seeking out. But this book is gory and sometimes gross, and people are getting eaten left and right. Also, this book does have a little spice, which again, not opposed to spicy books, but I just don't read them all that often. I will say the spice in this book is very interesting to me because of the conditions in which it happens. The spicy scenes are really there as a way for our two main characters to kind of release the stress of all the horrible things that are happening around them. So they're not really ever romantic or fun. And while I will say that only one of the spicy scenes is what I would call hot, within the context of the book, it still really plays out more of an act of survival or defiance. I really like the lore and the world building here. The monsters are terrifying, the mystery of where they came from and what they are is really interesting, and the book has a lot to say about the oppressiveness of systems of power. There are a couple moments here and there where I felt like the writing could have used just a smidge more editing, just to make it pack a little more punch and feel a little tighter, but those moments are far outweighed by all the other bricks that build the house that is this book. The foundation of what's here is really sturdy, even if the windows do let cold air in sometimes. Whew, I really went to town with that building metaphor. All in all though, I enjoyed this a lot. I think I'm gonna continue reading the series. The ending definitely closes out this chapter of the story, but also opens it up to so much more of like what is gonna happen next. And y'all know I love a first book in a trilogy that has a really clearly defined beginning, middle, end, but still leave me wanting a little more, you know? I gave The Terrace Trials a 4 out of 5, and I'm excited to continue reading the trilogy. Have any of you read The Terrace Trials? I don't think I'd ever heard of it until I started reading it off my shelf, which begs the question, how did it get there? I'm also hoping to read off my shelf either Five Broken Blades or Between Two Fires next. Any thoughts? One or the other? They're over there. I just didn't want to get up. But most important question of all, what are you reading off of your shelf this week? Let me know in the comments.